All right, so we did a lesson today, and I want to go over a couple of the things we went over. One of the big things that we started with was breathing. So making sure that at the beginning of any note, right, you're thinking of a beat, right? For example, and then before that beat, you take a breath as the beat goes, right? So if you think about it, if you just want like a low C, like we talked about, 1, 2, 3. That's really, really important when you're starting any note, any passage. And then, as you saw, we talked about shoulders. Instead of keeping them up like that, keeping them down is really, really key. So it's way easier. It's way easier, especially when we talk about hitting those high notes. We cannot be. It's so hard to if you slouch like that. So we either talked about practicing standing, or if you wanted to practice seated, just make sure your shoulders are down, but also your chest is out like that. You can take an easier breath like that. Relax. Pretty simple. And then we talked about hot cross buns. They're doing very well between slurring and tonguing. So we did tonguing first, and before you couldn't differentiate, but now you actually can differentiate between the two. So here's hot cross buns tongue, and then here's hot cross buns slurred afterwards. Now we're going to do it slurred. And lastly, the third thing that we went through was the difference between how to hit a low note and how to hit a high note. And you actually got it because I started writing down the actual vowel, the actual word that you say to make the note sound. So for some of the lower register notes, we talked about ta. And the reason that's important is because it brings the back of the tongue down like that, right? You're very intelligent. You actually understood that. And then when we talk about raising the tongue, T, that allows you to hit higher notes, right? We talked about hitting really high notes and how to do it. So the way to do that is to change the vowel. So I'm going to slur from a low C to a middle C, and you're going to see how I go from a ta to a T at the end, okay? To an E there too. So you can go as high as you want to. It's just what you do with, right, the vowel that you're making with your tongue. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I sure did. Until the next time.